And if you're going to live this life and be spiritually successful, you got to know without a shadow of a doubt, the God that I'm serving ain't trying to trip me up. He's not trying to make me sin. Do you know who isn't on your side, though? There's somebody out there who isn't working toward what is best for your life. This person is working toward what is ultimately worse for you. And you know who it is. The devil, he's out to kill, steal, and to destroy. And so James wrote in verse number 14, he says, temptation comes from the lure of our own evil desires. These evil desires lead to evil action, and evil action leads to death. He's not the cause, of course, of the sin that's in your life. Guess what? You are. I know somebody had already pinned it on the devil. It's that evil spirit that's within you that you've allowed him to saturate your mind. I'm going somewhere. I know folk don't like to hear these kind of messages, but I got to help somebody because we need a reality check that it ain't going to always be rosy roses, but we need to understand where we're going and what we're up against. God says in verse number 12, he says, God blesses the people who patiently endure testing. Let's stop for a minute. This word testing and this word temptation is the same Greek word. This Greek word is also sometimes translated trials. And so trials and temptations and tests, they are all similar in some way. They have a common characteristic, and one is they are not from God. God doesn't give you those trials and problems and difficulties just to see how much you can bear. But trials and problems and difficulties are just going to come just like death and taxes. And God doesn't send these your way. They're just a part of the human experience. In fact, the Bible says that God's involvement in this process is that he prevents them from becoming too strong. Now, isn't that some good news? To know trouble gonna come your way, but you serve a God that's protecting you, and he's not gonna let that problem get to be too strong. Matter of fact, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13 says, he will keep the temptation from becoming so strong that you can't stand up against it. So you can't blame God for your problems and temptations. You can thank him that they're not as worse as they could be. And so James says in verse 12, God blesses the people who patiently endure testing. But afterwards, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. He's not waiting for you to fall. He's waiting for you to follow through. He's waiting for you to endure. He's waiting for you to hang on in there and tough it out. Trials and tests and temptations all have this thing in common, that they will try you if you're not ready to withstand spiritually. And so this is the principle that we call favor. Even though we live in a difficult world, God is eager to bless his people with good things. Whatever is good, the Bible says, and whatever is perfect comes to us from God above, who created all of heaven's lights. In his goodness, the Bible says he chose to make us his own children by giving us his true word. And we all, of all creation, became his choice possession. Reality check number 3. God isn't out to get you, but you got to know that God is out to bless you. Trials are going to come your way. And even though life is hard, temptation is strong, and problems are many, we serve a God who wants you to know from a reality check that his presence is in your life. And that's why every morning as I close today, you ought to wake up with God on your mind. Every morning when you wake up, you ought to be willing to talk to God and direct and communicate with God so that God can give you direction. Bible says, first of all, when you wake up, you got to know it was he who woke you up. That'll keep your head up. Do I have a witness here? And not only that, But when you stay up, he's the one that gives you direction. And he's the one that gives you guidance. And that's why even when you go to your workplace, you got to know that God is there. That's why the Bible says walk by faith and not by sight. Know without a shadow of a doubt what you see. God will take that what you see and turn it around for your good.